So one more time, hello and welcome race fans joining us from all around the world. By one of the Austrian GT cars, yes, because this is a huge weekend connection between the GT Cup Series and also the Austrian GT, and we do have one of the cars off the track in the gravel zone just outside of the turn one, closely to the pit out. So we do have the yellow flags there for some reason. So there was an accident just after the start of the race. Meanwhile, Marius Eigner is doing again really good job here, leading the way. And here we are on the back straight of Red Bull Ring, going into the fourth corner of the racetrack. There is the fascinating white Blaze Camaro car of Robert Brandley. That's the driver who made the lockup into the first corner. Yesterday he had to retire his car in the endurance race, so we wish him best of luck for today's campaign. And I believe the car is very well prepared for both sprint races today. Here he is, Marius Eigner, with the KTM 119, entered by MZR Motorsport Centrum Ried. Again in the lead, and behind Marius Eigner it's a great battle between Ondřej Rokos driving his Mercedes and also Miro Konopka behind the wheel of the Ligier JS320, the LMP3 car. A fascinating machine. Of course, Miro Konopka, he has many experiences from driving the LMPs from his Asian Le Mans Series days and also from the FIA World Endurance Championship. He spent a long time racing these cars all around the world, in Japan, in China, in Australia, of course, in Europe as well, for the races like Le Mans 24 Hours and the rest of the World Endurance Championship. So Miro Konopka is one of the most experienced drivers on the grid here in GT Cup Series. Still, we have the yellow flag at the exit from turn number one. So there is a still car on the grass, and it's Porsche number 551. That's Matteo Scapozza and his Porsche 991 GT3 Cup. So most likely there was some accident which put him on the grass, and he is trying to escape this grass trap. Maybe he will succeed. Otherwise, we might have safety car deployed. But no, good news for the race. Matteo Scapozza is on the track and going again. So there is no need for full course yellow now, with Marius Eigner again in the first corner. So he is leading the GTX class. The same rule is being applied here, just as yesterday in the first endurance race of the season. Winning the race in overall standings, it's not so important. The most important thing for you is to win your class. We are only having the podium ceremonies for the class podiums, which means Marius Eigner is now pretty safe as he is leading the GTX class. But he needs to be quick, because Ondřej Rokos in second place. He is also in the P2 in the GTX class, so possibly we can have a fight between KTM and Mercedes for the GTX class win. Miro Konopka in P3 leading the D5 class, and this is the Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo of Denis Vashek, the typical colors of GT2 Motorsport, and Denis Vashek just overtook, I believe it was Rupert Weissenlehner driving his Porsche 992 Cup, the white and blue car. So good job done by Denis Vashek, who is also there in GTX class, but he needs to find his way up the field, as he is only in P7 right now in GTX class standings. So this will be a tough job for Denis Vashek if he wants to finish on the podium in the first race of the 2026 season. And here he is again right now. Denis Vashek is putting Rainer Sampel under pressure, and just in front of him there was a touch between KTM and Porsche. Oh, it was Franz Lamer and René Sampel. Rainer Sampel driving the KTM, and right now both cars has been divided by Denis Vashek in his red and white Lamborghini, going into the third corner of Red Bull Ring. And right now it might be a better exit for Denis Vashek, as he's trying to gain another place. It's a wheel-to-wheel battle between the Lamborghini and KTM into the fourth corner, and much more quicker Denis Vashek here, overtaking the KTM of Rainer Sampel, which means we already have Denis Vashek in P11, and he's making a decent progress in the GTX field. I believe that Denis Vashek is already in P6 at the moment. And more battles. Ondřej Rokos behind the wheel of the Mercedes. This is not a fight for a position, because he is just lapping a slower Porsche car. So Ondřej Rokos still in a P2 overall, and also still in P2 in GTX class. And the gap between Ondřej Rokos driving this red and black Mercedes and the leading driver Marius Eigner is almost 5 seconds. So it's starting to look very promising for Marius Eigner again. I told you already, Marius Eigner won the first endurance race yesterday. He was very precise over the course during the 1-hour endurance race, and he doesn't want to do any mistake today either. So still in the lead, and here we are driving with one of the other KTM's Expo. This is of course Viktor Mraz, the Slovakian racer racing for Karen Racing. Right now Viktor Mraz, he is in P5, and the car ahead of him, it is Max Grip with another KTM Expo GT2. Max Grip is driving the GT2 spec. Viktor Mraz is in a GTX spec car, but both drivers are fighting each other within the GTX class. So right now it is a fight for the final spot on the podium in GTX class. Max Grip in P3 in GTX, while Viktor Mraz is in P4 in this category. So there is some job to do for Viktor Mraz if he wants to finish at last in P3 in the GTX class. And the other fights on the track with 17 minutes to go. It's the Mercedes GT3 car, I believe, the silver one behind the Porsche, which should be Dobroslav Karnik, I believe, driving his Drivers Club racing car, and he's trying to find his way ahead of Rehan Khan, driving the green and black Porsche 991 GT3 Cup. This is a great battle between these two drivers for P18 overall. Dobroslav Karník, of course, he is listed in the GT4 class, and he is the leader of GT4, but he doesn't want to lose any time, because the driver in the second place is the driver behind the wheel of the white KTM just behind him. So this is the possible fight for the P1 in GT4 class as well. So plenty of action at the same time on the racetrack right now. Still Dobroslav Karník doing a great job, but he's trying to find the way. He desperately wants to overtake the Porsche ahead of him, because obviously Rehan Khan is slowing him down, and he might be under pressure already from the KTM driver, who is Oliver Fence at the moment. Now Karník trying to find his way through the inside, but there was no space left for him, so still stuck behind the Porsche, and the fight for the P1 in GT4 class goes on. Nice battle here on the Red Bull Ring, on this beautiful racing facility between the hills of Styrian Alps here in Austria. So now there might be another chance for Dobroslav Karník as we are heading into the 9th corner. This is the Rindt section here on Red Bull Ring. No further action after one of the incidents after the start of the race, so no investigation at the moment. And still great battle for the P1 in GT4 class between Mercedes and KTM. Still Karník leading the way ahead of Oliver Fence. Plus, we also have Sebastian Selinsek driving the Porsche Cayman GT4 behind these two cars, so we can see the top three cars within GT4 class battling each other. Oh no, and it's a switch. It's a switch. Great job by Sebastian Selinsek, who overtook Oliver Fence. So right now, the white Porsche Cayman GT3 is in the second place in GT4 class. There was a bit of chaos in the third corner when the much quicker Praga car was lapping these drivers. So Sebastian Selinsek just took the opportunity and overtook Oliver Fence. Good job done by Sebastian Selinsek, who is now in second place in GT4 class. Also good news for Dobroslav Karník, because he takes the biggest advantage of this situation, as he made the gap between him and the rest of the GT4 class field larger. Good news. And a moment of relief for Dobroslav Karník, as he is now, I would say, pretty much safe in P1. But maybe not for long, because there is a huge traffic ahead of him. Still 13 minutes to go in the first sprint race of 2026 GT Cup Series season. Meanwhile, Marius Eigner still leading the way and also leading the GTX class. Miro Konopka leading the D5 class, being in P2 overall, which means Miro Konopka overtook Andrei Rokos for P2. 6.5 seconds between Marius Eigner and Miro Konopka, so both drivers are pretty much safe in their positions right now. And I believe that we can see a fight for the second place in GT4 between Porsche and KTM. Oh yes, here it is. Still Sebastian Selinsek in P2, driving his Porsche Cayman GT4, entered by BA Motorsport. So still the same position for Sebastian Selinsek. And Dobroslav Karník still stuck behind the Porsche. Status quo between these two drivers here. So one more time on the main straight of Red Bull Ring with 11.5 minutes to go, and maybe another chance for Dobroslav Karnik here. If he has a better exit from the first corner, he might be quicker going up to hill into the third corner of Red Bull Ring. So there might be a chance for Dobroslav Karnik for overtaking Rehan Khan, driving his Porsche 991 GT3 Cup, being also in P5 in a GTC class. The leader of GTC class at the moment is Franz Lahmer, driving his Porsche 992 Cup, P12 overall. And speaking of GTC class, I must say that we are missing one of the teams here on Red Bull Ring for the opening weekend of the season, because Mechanic Motorsport, powered by Bagheera, is this weekend rather racing on Paul Ricard in Lamborghini Super Trofeo. So there is a, let's say, termine collision between these two race weekends, but I believe that also Mechanic Motorsport with Lamborghini Super Trofeo will be joining the grid of GT Cup Series later this season. So I can promise you that in the races to come we will have even more cars on the grid and even more cars in a GTC class, which has been always really exciting within the GT Cup Series. So during the first race weekend here on Red Bull Ring, we are missing the reigning champions from Mechanic Motorsport, the Brno-based team. But from the second race weekend, we should have also Mechanic Motorsport on the grid. Meanwhile, in the GT4 class, still Dobroslav Karnik leading the way, but behind him there has been some changes. Sebastian Selinsek in P2, nothing new here, but in P3 it is now Oliver Fence, but he was there in a close fight with the other drivers, also with Istok Armic driving his Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo in GTC class. So Oliver Fence has been losing some time, and he is no longer in striking distance behind Dobroslav Karnik and Sebastian Selinsek. So these two drivers are pretty much safe in their positions within the GT4 class right now. So good news for Karnik and Selinsek. And here we have other Porsche cars fighting each other. And number 456 is in the pit lane. That's Sven Pot. So there was some problem to this car. And Sven Pot is losing a lot of time, already 4 laps down on Marius Eigner, who is still the race leader here. Oh no, the Porsche has spun around. Number 591. That's Richard Voschitz, racing for Korg Bauer Motorsport with his Porsche 997 Cup. We had a double yellow for that incident in the corner number 4. But I believe I've seen the car going again, so the track is green again. No more troubles here for track marshals with 6 minutes and 40 seconds to go. again going on board with Viktor Mraz, and you can see Denis Vashek behind Viktor Mraz. Well, and this can be a direct fight for B5 in a GTX class. I haven't been talking about Denis Vashek for a while, but right now he is here again behind one of his opponents in a GTX class. With 6 minutes to go, there will be a chance for Denis Vashek to overtake Viktor Mraz. So this is Czechoslovak battle between Mraz and Vashek. Vashek is going around the outside into the third corner, and here he goes. He takes the B5 in the class now, and he also has a good exit from turn number 3, so he is already building a gap between him and Viktor Mraz, driving the RTR Project's KTM Expo GTX car. Good job done by Denis Vashek. And the next target for Vashek is Max Grip, so still maybe in the fight for the podium in a GTX class here. Right now it's B5 for Denis Vashek. Yesterday he was among the quickest drivers on the track during the endurance race yesterday. In case you miss it, Denis Vashek was driving the BMW M4 GT3, and he won the GT3 class in yesterday's endurance. So he has shown some great pace yesterday. And of course we know that Denis Vashek has a lot of experience with driving GT3 cars, as he sometimes join the Scuderia Praha racing with Ferrari also in 24-hour series, for example for the longest endurance races like Dubai 24 hours. It's also very familiar crew to us, consisting of Denis Vashek, Josef Král, Miroslav Výboch and Matuš Výboch. But this weekend here on Red Bull Ring, well, it's Denis Vashek behind the wheel of the car he knows the best, I would say, and that's the Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo. I'm wondering if Denis Vashek wants to be one of the customers for the new Temerario, because we are very much excited for the new Lamborghini Cup car, which will be making the international debut next year in 2027 season. This year's Lamborghini Super Trofeo has started on Paul Ricard just yesterday with a great win for Mechanic Motorsport, powered by Bagheera. And important news, it's the last season of Super Trofeo with the older Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo. Beginning next year, there will be a Temerario in the championship, so possibly we will also have Temerario in GT Cup Series beginning 2027, so we can't be more excited for the new car. Meanwhile, one of the Porsche cars has been off the track, but the track is green again. And here is Andrei Rokos lapping another car, and this is Viktor Mraz behind the wheel of his KTM, doing a wheel-to-wheel battle with one of the Lamborghinis, but this was not a fight for a place, for a position here, because the Lamborghini must have been lapped down, I believe. The next car ahead of Viktor Mraz is Max Grip in a P6 and in a P5 within GTX class respectively, so it was only a car lapped down that was overtaken by Viktor Mraz. Meanwhile, Denis Vashek again doing a great job with 2 minutes to go. Denis Vashek already in a P4 in a GTX class, and the next target for Denis Vashek is the red Ferrari 488 GT3 being driven by Antonín Herbeck. So Denis Vashek still in the fight for podium in a GTX class here on Red Bull Ring. This is some great driving shown by Denis Vashek. There is a gap less than 1 second between Denis Vashek and Antonín Herbek as we are approaching the closing stages of the race. 1 minute and 40 seconds to go from the first sprint race of GT Cup Series in 2026 season. And I would say that Denis Vashek is the driver of the race so far, gaining up so many places, climbing up the hill. And I'm talking about the standings, of course, at the moment. So, we are, of course, watching also the race leader, Marius Aigner, doing a great job again. The gap between him and Konopka is over 4 seconds, so he is in a safe space, let's say. And he is absolutely safe if we speak about the standings of GTX class, because the gap between him and the second place car within the class is larger than 24 seconds right now. And it is possible that we just entered the last lap, but let's wait and see for the confirmation. Some multi-class racing again, and we have yellow flag at the turn number 4. I could hear some tires screaming. Yes, double yellow here. Oh no, it was the white Camaro. It was the white Camaro spinning around. So that is Robert Brandley, who made a mistake in the third corner. But fortunately, he managed to get going again, so no need for a full course yellow here. Time is up. So this is second to last or the last lap of the race. The time is running up also for Denis Vashek, who is still trying to catch Antonín Herbek, and I would love to watch the Lamborghini of Denis Vashek right now, because there is almost no gap between Vashek and Herbek. This is the fight for the final spot on the podium within the GTX class. So I would love to see the fight between Vashek and Herbek. Yes, the last lap of the race has been confirmed. So we are waiting for Marius Aigner. Here he is. Marius Aigner takes the checkered flag and he wins the first sprint race of the 2026 GT Cup Series season. He also wins the GTX class. Miro Konopka should be taking the checkered flag. Here he is in second place, winning the D5 class. So very good job done also by the Slovakian legend Miro Konopka. Ondřej Rokos will be there in P3 with some larger gap between him and Konopka. It should be second place for Ondřej Rokos in GTX standings. And after all, Vashek is there. Oh yes, Denis Vashek has done it. Denis Vashek is in P4 overall, which means Denis Vashek takes the P3 in GTX class. So yes, most likely there was a fight between Denis Vashek and Antonín Herbek in the very last lap of the race. And after all, yes, it is Denis Vashek in the third place in GTX class. So what a great finish done by Denis Vashek here, racing his GT2 Motorsport Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo. So the top 3 drivers in the GTX class are Marius Aigner, Ondřej Rokos and Denis Vashek. Antonín Herbek in P4 within GTX, just ahead of Max Grip and Viktor Mraz. Then it is Thomas Ambil in P8 overall, finishing in P2 in a D5 class in the Decay in a D08, the other LMP3 car on the track. Rainer Stampel in a P9. Tomasz Lach in a P10 and also winning the GTC1 class. Franz Lamer in P11, also winning the GTC class. Bob Bau in P12 and also in second place within GTC1. Rupert Weissenlehner in P13 and also in a P2 within GTC. Robert Brandley winning the GTO class with his fascinating Blaze Camaro. Herbert Carrer in P15 and also in P3 within GTC. Petr Koukola driving Norma M20 FC in P16 and also taking P3 within the D5 class. Nicolas Duisik in P17 And in P8 in a GTX, Dobroslav Karník winning the GT4 class and also being in P18 overall. Alex Lusty in P4 in D5 and in P19 overall. Oliver Fence, second place in GT4. And then we have Istok Armic